2000 to 2007. So if they bought this house anytime before 2007, they probably had to fight to get this house. So they're thinking that's the way you buy a house, and they think all these buyers are just going to fall all over themselves to get their house now. And we know that that's not the case. So I let them know that that was a different market. And I tell a story. I say, so, you know, when I was showing houses in that market, here's what would happen, okay? Human nature doesn't change, okay? A buyer would go out, they'd look at houses on Saturday, maybe they'd look at 3 or 4 or 5 houses, and they'd call me up on Monday, and they'd say, hey, Warren, we really like that one house. Could you get some more information about it? And I would start to look it up, and I would say, I'm sorry, guys, it's gone. That house already sold. And pretty quickly, if it wasn't the first time, it's the second or the third time, the buyers get really aggressive because the market has forced them to. Every house that they're interested in gets snapped up. So pretty soon, we're out looking at properties on lunch hour, and they have a check in their hand. Right? And so basically, I've got like a rabid dog on my hand. We're just like ready to go make an offer on the first house we see. Okay, the buyers didn't want to be that aggressive. They wanted to be able to sit back and have Uncle Rico come into town and take a look at it and haggle with the seller. In a perfect world, you're the only buyer and you can do that. But in a hot market like that where there's this many buyers and this many sellers, you don't have that luxury. You have to just jump on anything. House I bought at that time had a foot of water in the basement at the closing. I was just happy to have a house. It was like the 5th one that I had put under contract or made an offer on. So they get that. They understand it, especially if they were in that market. I say, well, now, obviously things have changed. Okay? Basically, since the peak of the market, this region is flat. Okay, yes, there have been some ups and yes, there have been some downs, but those have pretty much been seasonal. By and large, you know, since 2007, homes have been flat across the region. So you have this many sellers and this many buyers. Okay? So imagine the situation. The buyer looks at the house on Saturday. You know, they look at 5 houses. They call me up. They don't call me on Monday. Now they call me on Thursday. Right? So they call me on Thursday. They say, hey, what's going on? You know, anything going on with that one house that we liked on Saturday? I say, well, yeah, actually, it's had a price reduction. And there's 3 more new ones on the market that are just like it. So you can imagine there's no external forces that are causing the buyers to have to hurry up their search. I mean, what am I going to say to them? Hurry up, Mr. Buyer. You better buy now or else the price is going to go down. That's not very compelling, but that's what's happening. So now, of course, they're like this. You know, I mean, they're just like, oh my God, this is so horrible. Less than half of homes sell. You know, he's telling me this story. And by the way, you notice the more I embellish the story with just storytelling, the more real it is. It's all true. I use the word embellish. I shouldn't probably. It's just the more you storytell, the more it's a story and people are drawn into it. Okay? So that's important. So I say to them, well, basically, there is hope, and it's the reverse offer system. Okay? It's like every TV commercial you've ever seen. You have a problem. This is what the problem is, and here's the solution, and here's how you get it. Okay? That's what we're doing with every slide, essentially. Problem, solution. So here's what we can do. All right? We brought in the reverse offer system. Okay? What you can do is you can actually make an offer to the buyers. And they're like, what does that mean? How do you do that? I don't understand. Right? I say, so yeah, you can do that. You can actually say to all the buyers, hey buyers, here's an offer for you. And you know legally their agent has to present it to them? Any written offer must be presented to a buyer. So this is what we do. So anybody that looks at your home that expresses any level of interest in the home. Now I'm not going to waste your time putting offers together for people that won't even return our phone calls. That's a waste of your time. Okay? But if they go a couple of days since the showing and they've expressed some interest in your home. Maybe they've asked me some questions about your home, or maybe they've just been on the website clicking on it or something like that. We're going to reach out to them. Okay? We're going to take the same Pennsylvania standard contract that a buyer would normally write to a seller, and we're going to write it to the buyer. And here's how it would work. We send it over to the buyer, and they sign it, and we have a deal. No, I'm kidding. That never happens, right? That's a fantasy, all right? And that would not happen, to be completely honest. I've never had that happen. But here's what does happen. They get this thing and they go, what's this? And now I'm talking to the other agent. And I say, this is an offer to your buyer from the seller. So here's how the numbers would work, okay? Let's say you have a $100,000 house, right, just to make the math easy for me. And the seller says to me, Warren, we'd be happy with 95, 96, somewhere in that range. Okay, great. Let's make a reverse offer for $98,500. Take about 1.5% off the asking price. Okay? And let's throw in a $500 bonus to the buyer agent as a thank you to them for putting the deal together. Okay? Seller would net 98, so they're perfectly happy with the numbers. So we have the seller sign that offer and we zip it over to the buyer agent. Okay? I give him a call. I say, hey Joe, or hey Mary, I just sent you over an offer on, whatever. I would say your address, by the way. I would never say 123 Main Street. So if I'm in 44 Highland Park Drive, I would say, I just sent you over an offer on 44 Highland Park Drive. Please present it to your buyer and get back to me. Right? So now we're in a dialogue with the other agent. And isn't that really what you want? You really want to be talking to all the buyers? And of course, that's what they really want. They think that's what goes on in the industry, that we're pushing their house on every buyer, when in reality, agents mostly don't do anything for them. They just wait for the buyers to come to them. So they really like that. Okay? And what I say is, look, what we'll get is we'll either get feedback. That's the most common response. Okay, so maybe when we asked them for feedback the first time, they kind of blew us off or they just said something general. Now they give us much more specific feedback. Well, look, Warren, the bottom line is that third bedroom's too small. It just doesn't work for these guys. They just can't buy this house. Okay, well, we know we can't do anything with these guys, right? We can't expand the third bedroom. Or maybe they come back with something you could do something about, right? Well, Warren, they actually really like that house. But the fence is all messed up in the backyard and the weeds are like really high. Like it just looked bad back there and they just got a bad taste in their mouths. Okay, so what if the seller had the fence repaired and had the grass cut and had the place landscaped before closing? Well, yeah, I think we could do something like that. You see what I mean, Mr. Seller? We have a dialogue going with things that you could control. And I'm not accusing you guys of having bad landscaping. It's beautiful out there. I'm just giving you some examples, right? So we're in a dialogue now with a real buyer about your house. And I've sold homes this way. I've even sold homes where they were writing an offer on another house, received our reverse offer, shifted gears over to negotiating with us, and we stole that buyer from the other house for our client. And that's a true story. You can use it. And it was in like Delaware County or something. It was a referral seller of mine. But that really happened. So, and here's the best part. It doesn't cost you anything. This is just more work for us. And it helps get the home sold for a higher price in a faster time frame. So it's better for you. The other agents that you met with, did they do anything like this? No, of course not. Okay. I wouldn't say that, but that's the point. That silence can be there, and that's okay. All right? So now, we talk about the fact that it's aggressive and it communicates to buyers, that you're really serious about selling the house, right? Okay. Now, the other thing, you may have heard about our guaranteed sale program, right? So there's obviously a very big problem in real estate that's been around for a long time. We call it the real estate catch-22. You're afraid of getting stuck with two homes or none at all. And our guaranteed sale program can solve this problem, right? You can see on our signs, you see it on all of our promotional materials, buy this home and I'll buy yours for cash. Okay? And let's face it, in any given market, typically there's about 20% of the market that are first-time buyers. It may get as high as 30%, 33%. I've seen the stats rise to at some points, but it'll never get more than that. That means that the vast majority of the market has a home they have to sell. So the other agents that you met with, how did they plan on solving this problem for the potential buyers for your home? So you notice when I'm asking these questions and really trying to differentiate us from the other agents, I just ask the question. I know they're not going to have an answer, but I don't jump in. I make sure that there's awkward silence for a reason. Because It's me and you, Mr. Seller, against the world. And those other guys, they're not going to help you with this. So I need you to be thinking that, not me. I can't say it. I need you to be thinking it. So I just need to pose questions to you about all the things that I can do well and ask you if the other guy can do it as well. So remember when I told you guys some agents might have a buyer list, or because I've heard now around the country that some of the websites are now telling their clients to use buyer lists. So you may run up against somebody that has a cancellation guarantee and a buyer list. They don't have this. They do not have this. You will never run up against anybody that has the guaranteed sale program in Philadelphia. I guarantee you. If you do, oh well, that's one. But it's not going to happen more than once in your whole career. I've never run into it. Okay? I've still never run into the other examples, but I've heard them in other cities. So it'll eventually get to us. That's okay. All this stuff is good. So how did they plan on solving this problem for the buyer? Okay, so I guess that means they can only sell your house to the 20% of buyers that don't have to worry about selling their house. Were you guys cool with taking 20% of the price for your house? You know, if you're in a $200,000 price range, were you guys cool with getting $40,000? And of course they laugh. That's not going to happen. By the way, when they tell me, if you ever get somebody that says they're okay with everything, but I just don't want a sign in the yard, say, well, 20% of buyers come from for sale signs, so if you're not going to let us put a sign in the yard, I guess you're okay getting 80% of the price on your house. And then, okay, bring the sign over. Same thing. So, of course, they're not going to be okay with that. So, here's the thing about our, guaranteed sale program. We can solve that problem for you. Okay, we're going to tell all the buyers. So imagine this. Imagine you were selling the home by yourself. Okay, for sale by owner. You put the sign out there from Home Depot, you run a Craigslist ad, and you got some buyers to actually come through your house from that. Okay, and imagine you told those buyers, hey buyers, if you buy my house, I'll buy yours. How do you think that would work? And now they're like freaking out because they're thinking that's how the program works, that they have to trade houses with somebody else. They can't just pick their own house. I don't want to, right? Exactly. I don't want to go backwards. Like, this buyer's in the neighborhood we left 7 years ago. So I let that percolate for just a little bit, and then I say, but don't worry, you don't have to do that because we do it for you. Okay? We're going to tell all the buyers you see on the sign that if they buy your house, that Warren is going to buy theirs. Okay? So we're telling everybody out there that we can solve this problem. And understand this. There are people driving around your neighborhood right now who would like to buy your house, but their home is not even for sale because they're more worried about how they would even get their home sold. They're not even thinking about buying a house because their focus is on selling. So understand that problem exists, and there are buyers that are not even out there in the marketplace who we're going to attract because they're going to call me. Imagine this. Your sign has this on it. So the other house down the street says for sale, for sale, for sale. Yours says buy this home, I'll buy yours. Which one do you think they're going to call? And of course they say, I think they're going to call yours. We're going to take a break soon, so we'll be okay. I know that's fine. That's fine. We're going to break it, and then we'll do the CMA and we'll do the net sheet. Okay? So which one do you think they're going to call? And they say it's great. Now, I haven't explained the program yet, right? I've just been talking benefits, benefit, benefit. Now, at some point, some seller might say, and they often do, not always, but not nearly as much as you think, but some people will say, so are you going to buy my house? Or what are you going to buy my house for? Okay, and the answer is simple. So which one of our listings were you guys going to buy? Oh, so I have to be buying one of your listings? Well, of course you do. Now, let me ask you something, Mr. Seller. How would it benefit you if I told all the buyers in Philadelphia, right, there's 50,000 homes for sale right now in the local MLS. How would it benefit you if I told all these buyers, buy any one of these 50,000 homes and I'll buy yours? Like, it doesn't benefit you if I do that. The benefit of the program is if I say they have to buy this house for them to get this program, for me to buy theirs. Now they will focus only on yours. If I tell them they can buy any house, well, heck, they're going to shop you against your neighbors. You know, when we have people that come through this program, they pay more. Imagine if I'm buying their house, are they going to try to, get the price down on your house? Are they going to try to negotiate? They can't, because they need me to buy their house. So I tell them, listen, you can't beat up the seller, the Smiths. I can't have you beating up the seller because, listen, I'm buying your house and they need this so they can get where they're going. So look at the leverage we have for you when somebody comes through this program. I wish everybody would come through this program, because we could get you total top dollar guaranteed on your home. And you'd have no contingency. The buyer would have their home sold guaranteed. You'd never have to worry about a home sale contingency. Does that make sense? And it does. And that's heavy. That's because, again, this is all about getting their home sold, right? Which is what they want. So when they ask me, why won't I buy their house? What they're really saying is, I really want my home sold. But they don't want an investor offer. They want a real buyer. So when we hold them to the trade program, we're making it more attractive to get top dollar offers on their home, as opposed to just sending them low ball investor offers on their home. You see the difference? And by the way, we're not even going to get into the details, but that's basically how you explain it. Okay? All right. So now this is my checklist to make sure that I didn't